Best sound in the whole world. All right, it says we're loading, loading. Let me refresh a couple times, make sure we're live. I think we are. Okay, perfect. Hi, it's Thursday afternoon on a rainy Thursday. So rainy in Florida. It's a terrible view out the window. Not your typical like Florida beautiful tropical view. I am gonna start at it's 4:31 p.m. Eastern now. And I have some errands to run and some kids to pick up around like 5:30, so that's the max. And let me show you what we're going to be working on. Cross your fingers that I can solve this. I think I have a solution in mind. Okay, so a couple hours ago, I met with Chelsea, who is in some of my online courses, and Chelsea brought this data set to office hours, and she was like, these are her words, right? This pivot table is too messy. And it's partially because the data is stored as binary variables. It's like zeros and ones is one reason it's messy, but it's also messy because of just the layout that her database spits out. Okay, so let me show you. These are obviously like fake organizations and fake funding sources that Chelsea made up, and she gave me permission to share this. Okay, so I'll give you like a high level walkthrough. So she has there's 25 fictional organizations here, but in real life, I think Chelsea said she has like 300 or 400 organizations, and then they get different funding sources here. And I think in real life, there's like seven different funding sources, but they do come out as zeros and ones. One for yes, right? Like the presence of the org gets that funding source, zero for no. They do come out as binary, and they do come out as one column per source. And then over here, what we have is if these organizations work with different target populations of people. And I don't know what types of target populations, but like I'm assuming different like demographic characteristics of people. Okay, so what we started doing to like clean this up together was I was like, okay, well, first of all, let's just get rid of the zeros and ones. So over off to the right, we just did some quick sums to sum up like how many different funding sources. And this is a tricky part too, because it's not like check one, it's a check all that apply. I guess some of these groups get none of the sources. I don't know if that's true or not. Chelsea, like, obviously made up fake data to send me. So maybe in real life they all have at least one. I don't know. Maybe they have zero. And then some of them have like 3 out of 4. Okay. It's not just check one. So we can't just convert it into a long data set. Doesn't work because you can't just have like funding A and funding B because some people have A and B. Some people have B and C. Okay, so we tried the long data set, that didn't work. What else did we do? We added up the number of populations that they work with, and some groups work with none of the listed populations, others work with one, others work with three or all four. And then just so my eyes wouldn't bleed and I wouldn't get a headache, I just turned this into organization names so I could better kind of recognize these in the pivot table. And we did good old if statements to turn the binary data into yeses and nos. Again, so me and Chelsea wouldn't lose our minds looking at this. So these are all black because that's how I store raw data, original data, how it's exported from a database. And then these are all red because this is cleaned or recoded data. Shout out to Agata who taught me that technique around 2008, and I have followed it ever since. Okay, so what I tried making some new pivot tables, and I will show you what doesn't quite work about this. And if you've used pivot tables before, you can already kind of recognize the issue. Like if we want to know the connection between how many orgs got this funding source, and do they also reach these target populations? So those are the types of connections that we're looking for. I put organization in values because that's like the juicy unit of analysis that we're looking for, and it's a count. And we've got what, 15 per 15 the way this is filtered. But then if you have funding here and population here, look, if you stack them, it doesn't add a new row, it nests it. Do you know this about pivot tables so far? It's like out of the yeses of funding source A, here's funding source B info. It doesn't put it in one row per funding source because these are in different columns and they have to be because it's check all that apply. That's a lot of blah, 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 gobbledygook Excel jargon and data jargon coming out of my mouth, but I bet some of you watching this will understand like why it's not as simple as just doing a pivot table like this. Okay, so other things we tried, let's see. So let me keep a running list of what we tried to organize my thoughts and Chelsea's thoughts and maybe yours a little bit better too, because a lot of people I work with have really similar issues where you export the data from your database and you're like, that's not right. That's not right. Okay, what we tried. We could try zeros and ones into yeses and nos with if. Yay, that works. That is a good thing. That helps my eyes. Let me go away, Copilot. I might use you later. Go away. Okay. We tried wide into long. Doesn't work because it's a check all, not a click one situation. And what else? We also tried dragging multiple funding slash target populations into the pivot table rows and columns. Doesn't work because that nests them instead of listing them as separate items. Okay. Again, this might sound like it makes sense to you. It might sound like gobbledygook, but I know what it means and Chelsea knows what it means. So that's a win. What I'm going to do, instead of fighting with the pivot table, like I can't change the data set, right? Download the data differently. That doesn't work. That would be most proactive, right? But that doesn't work because the database is what it is. Is what it is. Is what it is. None of these things work. So what I'm going to try is good old-fashioned formulas, specifically count ifs. So I'm going to do this from scratch so that Chelsea and other people can follow along. And what we need is a list of all the funding sources and a list of all the populations. And we want two unique lists, and one of them is going to have to be transposed. We're going to put those here, and then we're going to fill in the contents of the table with like how many organizations. Or maybe what percent. Chelsea could do either one. Let's see. Okay, so first we need a unique list of all the funding sources, which these are like made up, right? There's only 4. So you could just type them in by hand, funding A, funding B, but Chelsea in real life would have, I don't know how many words or phrase, these would be different. So what we're gonna do, Chelsea, is we're gonna copy these and then we're going to transpose them. So we go to home, paste, down arrow, transpose to rotate or transpose them. And then we are going to grab, let's see, what else do we need? We need the populations. Great. And then we're going to, let's make this wide. Let's make all these a little wider so they're not all smushy. And are we summing or are we counting? Sum ifs or count ifs? Also, welcome if you're watching live. Say hi in the chat. And if you have any other ideas, if you've worked with similar pivot tables with binary data, let me know because obviously I'm like figuring this out as I go. And, it's 4:40 p.m. So there might be things things I haven't thought of. I might have some blind spots that you can help me see. Let's see. We want, do we want a count or a sum? I guess it depends if we use these, we could do a sum. And if we do these, we would do a count. Let's do sums because that is most original to how her data set spits it out. Yeah, let's do sums. Okay, so we are going to do, here's a little sum versus count lesson for all of you. A sum would count up organization 17 plus 18 plus 19 and it would count that as like 40 something or 50, whatever this number adds up to, 54. But a count says, no, that's That's three organizations. Okay, so that's sum versus count. And then you can also tell Excel and many software programs only sum it if it has funding source A. Only sum it if it has population C, or both, or some ifs. So it's like, don't sum everything, sum it if this, if this, if this. Counts are the same way. You can count everything, like this one counts one, this one counts one, this one counts one, only if funding B has a one in it, or population D has a zero in it. Okay, so there's sum and count, sum if count if, some ifs count ifs. And a funny thing about the formulas, a funny thing, a freaking annoying thing, is let me show you some ifs or some if. Okay, like if you want a sum if, you have to choose like only count it if it's population A. So you'd highlight the population A range and then you'd say population A. And then the sum range that you're actually tallying up goes at the very, very end. Sum range goes at the end. But what if you change your mind and you want to filter in again? Then look what happens. The sum range goes at the beginning and you have to cut and paste or delete everything in your formula and start over. So here's a good rule of thumb. You just pretend that sum if doesn't exist. Just don't ever use it. Just always use sum ifs just in case future you needs to add on more criteria to your formula. It's just very easy to expand it and you don't end up banging your head against the wall down the road. Okay, so like technically that exists, but nope, we only do this one. Same thing with count if and count ifs. Let's see. I think I do want to do a sum, right? And how can I do this formula so it's most draggable? So I can make one good formula and drag it down and across. I don't know. I don't know. That's too much for like a, let me get some fuel, some cucumber flavored fuel. I don't know if I can make one good formula. I want to just get to the vizzes. I don't want to spend my time in the formula. Sum ifs, I'm going to sum, um, I'm summing population A, but only if funding A says 1. Yeah. Count up this, but only if this is also met. That's not true. That's not true. Yeah, I do want to sum these. Is it an and or situation? One's here and one's here. Would that make my formula the most draggable? Maybe it's not a sum if, count if. Maybe it's an and. Maybe I want to do an and. Okay. Is that true? Population A, funding A? Population A. There's three, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, 3 and 3. But can I make this formula draggable? Maybe I have to do the and. The goal is always one good formula, and then you bloop and you bloop to save future you a little bit of time. That drags across. Not really. That is stuck. It doesn't drag across. Maybe I need to do an and. Let's try an and. And population A equals 1 and funding A equals 1. False. Oh, because I'm on population C. That is not written correctly. Does that drag though? I don't want Chelsea to have to learn ands. Let's just do some ifs. Let's just do some ifs. Okay. And I'm actually going to untable this for a moment. Don't watch because a lot of people are super pro uppercase T Excel table, but I don't like them for formulas. I like my good old dollar signs. I want only summit if, what's F? Population A? This is the worst sum ifs I've ever written in my life. Um, Population A is F. Okay. F is going to drag across. How do I make this one drag down? Oh, I'm summing them. So that doesn't matter. That doesn't, I need to do a index match. I need to index match it. Who cares about the draggable formula? Why do I care about this so much? As if it's like this huge table to fill in. It's actually not. It's like a little puny table to fill in. Okay. F, G, H, I. And then this one should also drag, right? Down. This should go from B to C. I'm just going to hand do it. This is an index match. That goes from B to C. This feels so clunky. I also hate index match though. So, is this true? Does nobody have funding C? F, D? F, D, F, D. Does nobody have funding C? Okay, I guess not. And this is an index match, but it's too late for my brain to write one for Chelsea. And I don't know if Chelsea knows index match, so it doesn't help. Okay, is this all correct? Let's spot check one. Population C, funding D, 8 orgs. C, D. Population C. Population C. Funding D. 8 orgs. Great. I'm editing videos for my storytelling class. Okay. Those are filled in. What else can we do here? We should do some totals. We should do some totals over here. We should do some formatting. We should yucky it. And what are we graphing? What are we graphing? We are graphing maybe a heat table. Well, let's do some graph ideas. Okay. Let's do a heat table of the inside, home, conditional formatting, color scales, green, white. And then we'll format these for a moment. Let's do a brand color, maybe a lighter one so it's not too dark in your face. And let's try some borders. White inside like that for a little itty bitty separation. And What else are we gonna do? I kind of want to do like a quadrant shape. Like make graphs of this. Like a I'll show you the quadrant in my mind. Like one of these? I like one of these. I want to show how many. Um, let's do icon stacks. So we're going to repeat. Do we want to do pipes? Like, so it looks like a tally. Repeat pipes. How many times? That many times. Do we want to color code the pipes? Bold them? Maybe left align the pipes? Maybe we'll do like this. Oh, funding C is so lonely. Oh, do we want to do horizontal colors or um or vertical colors? Would we pipe the totals? No, because that's going to throw off all the proportions, right? Okay, let me show you vertical pipes. Vertical pipes would be vertical colors, I mean, by population. Horizontal colors, vertical colors. Let's try another icon stack. Icon stacks with pipes. Let's try circles because I think they're going to look cuter. Because don't you feel like this looks too much like a tally? And once it has like 1, 2, 3, 4, it should go diagonal. Yeah, I think so too. Okay, let's try idea 4. Let's just give Chelsea as many ideas as we possibly can. Why don't I just put the stupid dollar sign in here? Then I won't have a problem with the formula reference. We are referencing that little guy right there. Or, yeah, no, no, we can't. We can't do that. Okay, forget I said that. Let's do instead of a pipe, we'll do an N. We will webdings the N to circle it. But then it gets a little long. So we really need to do a wrap text. And how would you make it wrap at 5 mark? Every 5. How would you automatically wrap it at the 5? Because obviously you can force wrap it like this by adjusting the column width, but then that's chopped off. How would you force wrap a 5? You would do you have two formulas in one cell. Did you say like if that is greater than 5, then repeat this one 5 times. Alt enter? You can't alt enter that. Can you? Can you? And then you'd like repeat it again. I don't think you can alt enter within a formula. I think you can alt enter the way you type the formula, but I don't think you can alt enter the way it appears. I think you would just do like you would do a these would just be in different rows. You would just have different rows. You'd write an if formula. So the first 5 appeared here, and then the second 5, and then the next 5, it would be a nested if. Anyway, long story short, you could make this only show 5. It could be 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. 5 is the magic number because our brains do really good at estimating stacks or groupings of five or fewer. After six, we have to like count. Our brains are good to small ends, not big ends. Okay. This one would be across, horizontal colors. And what's our reference? B4. Oof, good thunderstorm going on outside. This one would go like this. What are we doing? Ends. Mm. Ends down. Welcome if you're here live. Say hi in the chat if you're here. I can see people are here, but I can't see who. Maybe Chelsea R is here, but probably not because I didn't tell her I was doing this today. I said at some point, maybe on a rainy day, and it is literally a rainy day out the windows. Perfect. I would do this. Okay, let's recap what we've got so far. Black and white table, it's got the formulas in there. So like pivot table problem solved, check. That's a good win, but now we have to visualize it. So a heat table, that helps. That helps us see bigger numbers. Bigger numbers are darker. Icon stacks, this looks too colorful in hindsight. Maybe this one looks less colorful. I don't know if this is just me or not. I haven't seen any data on this, but I honestly feel like vertical colors, the second one, are less busy than horizontal colors. It's just me. Chelsea could transpose this table any which way she needed, of course, to match it. So, like Chelsea, if you want funding sources, one per color, I think instead of doing it like this, you'd transpose. Does that make sense? You'd have to change the formulas, but that's okay. Icon stacks with circles, dots. That's idea 4. And what's idea 5? I still want to do some type of like quadrant-y thing. I've only done quadrants with 2 before. Some type of quadrants. Like these are quadrants. It's a 4 by 4 quadrant. Oh, whoops, this isn't counting. Let me fix this first. Um, just reference cell it. Etc. Okay. Quadrants. I don't think this like works as quadrants because it's not 2. It's 4 across. And it's 4 down, which is what we have in the table. I was gonna put maybe just like little dots in here, kind of arranged every which way. Ooh, I know. You know what I haven't tried before that I've kind of always wanted to try? Chelsea's not gonna pick this idea. I don't even know if this is worth my time. It's worth my learning time. Maybe worth your learning time too. I doubt this is Chelsea's winning design. But what if I do 1 dot per quadrant? Not all lined up, all perfect, but a little bit imperfect with jittering, with rand array jittering. So it's going to look like this. They're just going to be random. Um, that could work. Okay, so this works well for small ends, specifically stacks of 5 or fewer, but this would work better on large ends. And how many organizations did Chelsea say she had in real life? Um, it's 25 in this fictional version of her data set. I think the real version, I think she said 300 organizations, I think is what she told me. So this is not going to work if you have 300 dots in here. I mean, it would. It would just be a lot of stacks of 5 across or 10 across, 5 down or 10 down. It would be a lot. So this one for big ends. Yeah, let's try it. Okay. The tricky part is though, we have to set this up as a scatter plot. So we're going to have, we are going to turn a scatter, we're going to disguise. We're disguising. a scatter plot as a quadrant with jittered dots. And to do that, we need one row per dot. So one row per org. So 25 total dots in this fictional scenario, 300 in Chelsea's real scenario. And we need pretend X and Y. I'm putting these in quotes because they're pretend, right? Pretend X and Y values to assign X and Y widths and heights. So it's going to look like this. Org 1, 2, 3, etc. We're going to have the X's. We're going to have the Y's. And then over here, we're going to have to jitter them. Jittered X, jittered Y. And what else? Forms. Yeah, I would have, how would I set this up exactly from her data set? Um, the X is this one, and the Y is that one. So the X is if it is population A, B, C, or D. Wait a second, but organizations can fall into more than one of these. I think that's okay. I think we're just looking for patterns. I think it's okay if each org is shown more than once. Is this a Sankey? Is it a chord diagram? Which is that's a Sankey? Chord Sankey. Because each connection will be listed once. It's not one dot per org, it's one dot per connection. That's true of all of these. Yeah, because there's 51 total connections. There's not 51 total orgs. Why didn't my brain realize that earlier? Probably because I got 3 minutes of background from Chelsea, which is like not enough. Let's see. That this is per connection, per binary one. So I'm gonna have a bunch of these. It's a Sankey. A Sankey is linear. Like Chelsea's would be like this, except she'd have four here. Well, or seven. Or whatever. Funding sources and target populations. Linear in the sense is like it's almost like two columns, but hers could look more like this. It could be a chord. It could be more circular, curved Sankey. Yeah, it shows the intersection. No, it's a Sankey because there are groupings. There's populations and funding sources. It's a Sankey. It's not a chord. I think that's the best way to show this. Okay, I'll make a Sankey next. Do I even bother making this though if it's not correct? I don't know. Be a 6. Sankey. And we'll try Sankeymatic. Sankeymatic.org.com. It's one of those. We'll try one of those. Okay. How would I set this up? So it would be, what did I say? Like 51 total connections. There'd be lots and lots of rows. And an X is a is a it's this. It's however many are here, 7 of them. X is population. Population a bunch of those. That's an X of 1. And then population B, we have 9 of those. And that gets an X of 2. And then there's, I don't know, how many more? A bunch more. And then we have 16 population Cs. How would you connect this behind the scenes with formulas, though? So Chelsea could only have to do it once. 16 of those. And population Ds, we have 10. This is so slow. There's got to be a better way to do this. I mean, it would take 5 minutes, but yet it's crappy. That's a crappy 5 minutes. Those get an X of 4. And then how many, okay, out of these, funding A3, 1, 2, 3, all of those are a Y of 4. Funding B is 6 times. There's got to be a formula to do this. I know there is, but I don't know which one. That is a Y of 3. And I'm just turning it from wide to long. Yeah. What would the formula be for that? I don't know. Funding C, 0. Okay. Funding D, 7 times. And that is a Y of 1. And should I fill in the rest? Yeah. 'Cause I think this structure I'm going to be able to use for a couple other projects actually. Population B, 2 of these. Four of these. 0 and 3. 4, 3, 1. Population C. Funding A, 3 times. Funding B, 5 times. Funding C, 0. Funding D, all the rest of the 8 times. 4, 3, One more. What is the formula to do this for me? I don't know. D, almost done. The rest are Ds, 5 Ds, 4, 3, 1. Okay. When you scatter plot these, they're all going to be overlapping because all of these dots, like there's a bunch of 1 4s, 1 4s, 1 4s, 1 3s, etc. They're all going to be overlapping like this. So then what we have to do is jitter them. Okay, so jittering, I think we can do a rand between. We're going to do a, we're going to do a this plus rand between, and let's do 0.1 to 0.3, something like that. 0.01, 0.03. Why am I only getting 2s and 4s? No, that's stupid. I want this to go from like 0.8 to 1.2. Plus or minus maybe 0.3. Yeah, I'll do plus or minus 0.3. That's not right. Why is it not giving me decimals? Um, what was the rand between formula that I used before? I know I've done this before. When did I do this before? What would I have called this? Swarm. But I did it with a swarm. I did a no decimals there. Okay. Jitter this minus 30 plus 30 divided by 100. Okay, that's what I want. And jitter that. And then this feeds into and then you format it. Let's format this for like a slide. Mhm. Okay. I have 12 minutes before I have to go. We're actually going to Best Buy to buy a fridge because our kitchen fridge broke. So we moved our garage fridge into the kitchen temporarily. But now we're like, what do we do in a household with seven people and no garage fridge? That's just like not enough food for the week. That's crazy. So I what can I do in 11 minutes? Can I do a Sankey diagram? Because I think that's actually the winner. Sankey Matic. I haven't used Sankey-Matic in at least a year. Let's see. Let's see. How do we need to set this up? Um, oof. And then I really want to load it into like Copilot or ChatGPT and see if they have any idea how to approach this because maybe they do, but I doubt it. I doubt it. Okay, Sankey-Matic. We are gonna do um I need our should we have all of the organizations, 25 of them? And then the funding sources, and then out of there, the populations. But it's not exactly a pathway, it's an overlapping one. It's an overlapper. It's not a flow. I think that should be okay. I want it more like this for starters or enders. Okay. Or starters for enders. Okay. I want source, amount, target. Let's put this side by side. This is a lot for my Thursday afternoon brain. Let's see. But again, that's the point of doing these lives and pushing myself because you don't want to push yourself when you have to do it for real for a client deadline. You want to push yourself year round and learn things year round and like challenge your brain year round. So when it's actually go time, it's like mental training, right? It's like to like go do your race to like meet your client deadline. That's how I think about it. So yeah, when it matters for real, you need to have all the reps in. You need to have the reps of figuring it out in. Is that viewable? That's viewable enough. Okay, good enough. I have two monitors, but you're only seeing one of my monitors, so that's why I just have to like give them give them a little smush. I think the last time I used Senkimatic, you couldn't change the font. You can change the colors. Can you use brand colors here? I think so. I hope you're not stuck with these. I don't, oh, no, no, no. Yeah. Okay. RGB, of course. No. Okay, good. Okay, good. I was like, it's still RGB. Good. Hex. Great. So if we want wages and other to represent these, Where do we type in wages? Okay, so we're gonna have wages 3, except this is gonna say funding A, right? Funding A, B, C, D, 3607. 3607. That zero is kind of like silly though. And then Excel, what, automatically put it at the bottom? Okay, but why are these so small? Because it's in comparison to this, right? That's all right. And then we want those flowing into the this. Is this right? This isn't right. That's okay. Again, that's the point of trying this. That's going to flow into population A. That's not right. Oh. What did this say a second ago? Budget? Did it say budget? Of all the budgets. Okay. Funding A flows into budget. I get it. Funding A flows into population. And then population goes in like this. But then I eliminate the middle one. Star. Source to target. 16, 19, 16, 10. This isn't right. 16, 19. This isn't right. I think I know what I have to do. Okay. Funding A goes into population A, 3. Funding A goes into population B, 2. Funding A goes into population C, 3. Funding A goes into population D, 2. Do I need that? No. And then I do the same thing for B, and I make these touch. Where did all this crap come from? I need to get rid of this next. B. And those numbers are 6, 4, 5, 3. 6, 4, 5, 3. Does it always go greatest to least? It looks like it does. Funding C. What if we have funding C is 0? Funding C, 0. We just show it? We just enter the zeros? Seems silly to leave them off. Funding D is 7385. 73. Oh my gosh. I almost am out of time. 85. This was a really good Thursday afternoon exercise. Okay, how do I get rid of this crap at the bottom? What is this? This is, let me copy and paste this before I lose it. Because that would be a shame to lose it. Okay, the Sankey diagram, it would go like that. Yes. Okay. Where did my Sankey go? You are here. So what if I want to make it for like a PowerPoint? Can I make it more 15 by 9, or put 16 by 9. So let me make it like that. That's way too wide. It doesn't need to be that wide. Um, I just wanted those dimensions. 800 by 450 is the same dimensions as 16 by 9. Background color, not transparent. We've got margins. How do I get rid of budget? Where did this come from? Nothing here. Does anything here say budget? Okay. You can set a node's color like this, budget 057, or a color, blah, blah, blah. I don't have a leftover. I don't want, I don't want that. I don't want that. Don't want any of those notes. Okay. So it always shows the zeros with. Where does this? Oh, this gets wider. Okay. Yeah. A little wider. No, that wouldn't hurt. Um, Border. What does the border do? Nope. I don't think we need a border. Do we need one at all? I don't think so. And default node colors. These are, would they be different categories? That could be cool. Let's do Anne's brand purple, although the hot pink's kind of fun. Let's do little hexy hex. Why didn't that work? I swear I just did Control C, Control V, Control V. I'm out of time. I'm out of time. 6432C6. 6432C6. Okay. The flows. One color? How do I change the font? Labels, show names. Yeah, we need those. Show values. This is all you can change. Why would they do it like that? Base size, let's bump it up a little bit. If it's going in a PowerPoint, I always do 18. What are we magnifying more, the values or the funding? We're the names. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is fascinating. It's setting up the text hierarchy. Same? Maybe the names have a little bit of priority. Like that. So labels differently. Well, no. Line spacing. It was perfect how it was. I usually do 0.1. Add line breaks. I don't need any line breaks. Chelsea will in real life. Placement. Arrange. Change the font. You can't do that. Okay. Let's do a save. And let's do a, how do you save it here? Good job, Steve. Well done. Well, I guess I don't save it. I just have this part saved, which is good. Oh, I think that's decent. I think that's very decent. Okay, I have to go buy a fridge at Best Buy. I told my husband I'd be done at 5:30. He knows that really means like we'll be in the car at 5:45, which is totally fine. So to recap, Kelsey, who takes online courses with me and came to office hours today, she brought a data set that looks like this to me, which is all fake organization names, fake funding names, fake target populations that they work with. Let me turn off the filters so you can see all of these. And then because her database exports the data as binary, she was having a really hard time putting this into a pivot table. So look, like organization 9 does get funding A funding and funding B, not funding C. So like ones and zeros mean yeses and nos. But then in the pivot table to make sense of this, she was like, it's zeros and ones all over the place. I need this to make sense. I need this to be like summarized somehow. Like what is all this crap? What is all this mess? She didn't say crap. I'm saying crap. She was saying like it's just too messy. And part of it is because there's just too many things stacked here in the pivot table. So it's nesting them. So I honestly can't think of a way to like make the pivot table work like this. I considered briefly turning her data set from a wide data set into a long data set. Wide meaning there was one column per funding source, and then in a long data set, there's just a column that tells you if it's funding A or funding B, and then the yeses and nos will go off to the side. But that doesn't work because some groups get multiple funding sources or they have multiple target populations. So it's like this is only set up for like a if you only get funding A or if you only get funding B, not if you have overlap, not if you have check all that apply. So like this would feed into a pivot table and different parts and slicers really easily, but I don't think that format makes any sense. Also, like that's not how our database spits it out. So what I did was pivot tables behind the scenes are typically doing count ifs, sum ifs, average ifs, min ifs, max ifs. They're typically doing those calculations. So I just did a sum ifs to like tally up, you know, how many different kind of like nodes or connections there were. 3 orgs get funding A and reach population A. 2 orgs get funding A and reach population B, and so on. Even though there's 25 organizations in the spreadsheet, there's 51 overlaps because some groups have multiple funding sources, right? So anyway, I recreated what she was trying to get with the pivot table with good old sum ifs. And then I tried bringing it to life a little bit more. Like this is just like the most important thing. Like just solve, how do we tally this up? How do we make sense of it? I did a heat table to help you see the highs and the lows. I tried icon stacks with pipes. Pipes are just like the long letter, the long symbol in between backspace and enter on my keyboard. And I used the repeat function to repeat the pipe this many times and so on. So I wasn't like manually typing in the pipes. They're all linked to the formulas up here, meaning when Chelsea adds new rows to the data set, more exports, things automatically would update themselves and be just fine. I tried horizontal colors, one color per row horizontally. I also tried vertical colors, one color per column vertically. I tried icon stacks with circles or dots, also horizontal, also vertical. But in real life, she has 300 organizations, not just 25. So these wouldn't all fit. Okay. Like this only works if you have a small N situation. Icon stacks don't work for big N's. So then I tried quadrants. Like this is a quadrant, right? It's like it's a 4x4 grid, but we would need the dots to be all just kind of like arranged in there. This would work better for like a big N. So I set up her table. I set up a scatter plot table with jittered X's and Y's. And I'm not going to go through in detail how I did that because I already did it on the, 30 minutes ago. But the end product would look something like this. You'd have to add text boxes though, saying like funding A, funding B, funding C, funding D, and so on. But I don't think Chelsea's going to choose this, so I didn't bother to add 8 text boxes because I don't think that's worth another minute of my time. And then I was like, oh, I think this is actually a Sankey diagram showing the flow between these. Instead of one dot per node, we need to show like how many connections of the 18 organizations that get funding B. They reach population A, they reach population B. I don't know what patterns Chelsea's going to see in here when she does this for real. It'll be really, I don't know. I don't know. She'll have to try this for real and see. You could also make these different colors. I think that would probably make it more interesting too. Although it's kind of nice to do like a one color graph because you just get to see like, you're just looking at thickness. You're not looking at all the extra colors. Sometimes too many colors can actually, I think, hurt. I'm actually most excited about the Sankey diagram and the formulas. She can, from a workflow and time savings perspective, Chelsea can download the data in the same exact format that her database already gives her with binary and zeros to ones. She could tweak the column headers ever so slightly here. The formulas would fill themselves in. These formulas you could concatenate into this format. And then you copy paste this into Sankey-matic's website, and then you get your Sankey diagram. Yeah, I would definitely concatenate these with a formula, meaning you do like a equals, and then you'd have the cell that says funding A, and you would do like the cell with the number, the number 3, etc. You'd concatenate it all together so that you're not like filling them in by hand like I am. Good formulas once to save you tons of time in the future. That's it. Uh, Off to buy another fridge, hopefully, either to go in my kitchen to replace the one that broke or to like put back in the garage to replace the garage fridge. When you have 5 kids, you can't have one fridge. There's just not enough space for like fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, all the chicken nuggets and the corn dogs that my kids eat, all the chicken and beef that my husband and I eat. So cross your fingers that they have one that's the exact dimensions that we have. Thanks for tagging along. See you later.